Good evening, Boat Club. Commodore coming at you. It's Tuesday, August 1st. I know my Scuttlebutt article is due. I'm still thinking about that, but working on it. I do have a couple of boat updates for you guys. One is the Boat Club is looking for a boat. We want to find a good potential pontoon boat, something with I think we prefer an outboard motor, maybe even something with like 115 horse, 21 foot or so, something we can trim up and get into the dock. We're going to use it for current events, and we're going to create new events, all of which will leave from the Boat Club dock. So I think it might not be long until a boat club actually owns a boat. Also, one thing that the boaters may or may not know. So I'm doing some work on my boat today, and I found these cool little. So I struggle with flagpoles because flags, they blow and things just they don't stay. But what you may or may not know, if you are a member of the San Diego Mission Bay Boat and Ski Club, you are required, I think it's by federal law, if I'm not mistaken, to fly a Boat Club Burgee. And actually, there's documentation that tells you where and how this should be flown. So, for example, if you get in your boat and you go to Mission Bay Yacht Club, man, we should be sporting your colors, right? It ain't turf wars, but it is a symbol that says, hey, we are visiting from the boat club and we're here to see you guys under different burgee. So every club has a burgee. Everyone plays by the same rules. Now, there's also another thing. If you are an officer of a boat or a yacht club, you also have your own flag, and which must also be properly posted and flown. This one's getting dirty a little bit now. That's a Commodore flag right there. But there are other officers that have their own flags. And if you got a boat and you're cruising around Mission Bay or on the ocean or whatever, I'm going to be checking you for your burgee and your officer flags. So on a more serious note, there was a little bit of confusion this weekend. There were actually two accidents, and I think these two accidents were confused. I think there was a pedestrian versus RV, electric bike versus RV, just in front of the club. There was no deaths or fatalities there, but it is a good reminder when you guys come out of the gate, try to remind yourself there's stuff coming around, and on these busy summer days, there's a bunch of bicycle and foot traffic. So go slow, look around the corner, because the pedestrians aren't looking. So I don't want one of us to be caught into some bad situation. That would be bad. Speaking of bad, there was a fatality on the bay this weekend, and it was very close to the club, and so that may be where some of the confusion came from. It was very near or in De Anza Cove. There was a young girl, my understanding she was 12, on a paddleboard, was struck by a jet ski. So I don't know that I personally know her. No one's come to me and said we know who the young lady is, but it doesn't matter. She's likely a San Diego resident, and my guess is we're going to hear that somebody, either way, that's a devastating story. And if you've ever owned or driven or have any experience on a Sea-Doo or a jet ski, you know almost automatically how this accident occurs. Because you get up at a high rate of speed and you see, maybe you didn't see soon enough, but you see an obstacle coming. The first thing you do is let off the gas and you turn. But guess what happens on a Sea-Doo, a jet-driven vessel? If you don't accelerate, if you're not accelerating, you don't have any steering. So I have done it before at a younger age. Of course, no one was killed, but where I collided with something because I let off the throttle, turned the handle, and the machine doesn't respond. So when I never loan or put anybody on a personal watercraft without giving him a strong briefing about without the throttle, there is no steering. So I'm guessing that may have been what contributed to that. So it's just a reminder for all of us. Let's just be safe on the water because it's active out there. You get out there, man, there's a bunch of traffic. So I think that's my briefing for this week. Let's just take a conscious effort to think about what we can do to further a safe event or day when we're headed out to the water. There's more of the briefing, but let's go inside to take care of that because I don't remember exactly what I wanted to cover at this moment. Okay, before I talk about the activities for this week and this weekend, I had left some open statements basically regarding the De Anza Natural Project. I mean, I let everybody know that yes, it was voted down 8-0, but I wanted to elaborate that on a little bit further. I think that I have called up the data that I can read correctly, the half a dozen items or so. So let me try to articulate this correctly so I don't mislead anyone. So first of all, my own impression of the Mission Bay Parks and Rec is it is a fine group of people who really care, and they're pretty good. They have good leadership. The chair lady is a fantastic person, and it was really cool. It was like real life drama watching this voting go down. So that's just a side note in my small opinion, but I want to kind of state factually. So the vote was to not recommend the plan in its current state, but to put 6 reasons behind it. So it's not just a flat no. It's a no with 6 reasons and essentially action items, if you will. So I'm going to try to get that right in the following description. You can see this is a photograph of one of the slides that they put up, and they copied off of this when they were going through there. These are reasons why the Parks and Rec would not put their signature on this plan. So it's based on the lack of a lot of information. We believe that the lack of information is related to the fact that they are trying to push this through with the deadline of the end of August because of this $1.25 million penalty that arises from an old lawsuit from the Audubon Society where they sued the city. Okay? So it was being pushed through. They're saying no for the following items. One is there's no water quality report, including the current status of both De Anza and the upstream pollutants. They want that. There's no hydrology report, including a sediment study from upstream sources and the ongoing maintenance required for routine channel dredging to improve water circulation. So without a hydrology report, the argument is, does the thing even work, right? They want to see real sea level rise analysis, including analysis of how adaptation strategies could be implemented. In other words, there are a lot of sea level rise claims, some of which the numbers are so potentially inflated that in reality, I think Interstate 5 would be underwater. So anyway, they're asking for a sea level rise analysis. And here's a big one: economic and fiscal analysis, including the upside of potential ecotourism versus the loss of Mission Bay leasee revenue. So this is like a big, obvious one. Nobody is talking about how much this is going to cost. There's no dollar estimates attached to it. And the city planning committee hasn't provided it. Again, mostly, I think, maybe because it's being pushed through. I'm not sure. But this is a problem for the board members, and they want this. So That was one. Analysis, and then here's where the first place where we're mentioned, analysis of the feasibility of utilizing South Shores as a viable placement of recreation activities, including the San Diego Mission Bay Boat and Ski Club. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think one or two of these below also may be part of the no. Need for analysis of alternatives to the De Anza Natural Plan, such as wetlands optimized alternative recommended by RWQCB. Need to weigh De Anza Natural Plan and its alternatives against the relevant policies within the City of San Diego Parks Master Plan. So, and this is Renee Smith. I think Renee, I believe, is the one who sort of dropped a grenade during the whole thing. And then regarding CEQA, the plan does not appear to address the concerns raised by CADFW. I don't remember what that one was about. So these were the stipulations. Then Parks and Rec wants the plan to come back to their committee before it gets submitted to City Council. So that's pretty cool. It really means that they're not just passing the buck. They have a sense of skin in the game on this, and they want to see it, and they want to reweigh in, because those things, it's not a plan unless it's a complete plan, and clearly it's not a complete plan. Now, there's one more bonus to this story, and we'll move on. The other is, in the plan itself from the city planners, there is language in there that refers to a general reference to that the recreational facilities will not be disrupted with this plan until relocation accommodations are secured, something of that nature. But there's no reference to the boat club in that. And not only did they hear us, but they asked. Now, we had already asked the planning committee. They asked the planning committee specifically to put it in the plan. And I saw some head nods. I haven't seen a revision to the plan, but that would be huge. If that actually happens, then that means that we're secure regardless. So that's all I'm going to spend on this topic for now. There are 2 or 3 other things that are quite exciting that I'm really pleased about, but I'll maybe save that for the next one. So let's talk about this week and this weekend, and then I'll wrap this up. Tomorrow, Wednesday the 2nd, PB Town Council Board meeting is happening in Chandler Hall. I'm excited about that. Thursday night is poker night. We're trying to raise the participation. So if you've never played before, there's something about a free buy-in. There's gifts for the ladies. We're trying to encourage it to be more of, women and men. Friday, I don't have yet. Let's see. I don't think I have yet the lowdown for who's playing on Friday. I'm sure it's going to be good. Now, Saturday is going to be a big day. That brings me really to my final point. There is 2 events. One is the boat club goes to the Del Mar racetrack, and that's, I think it shows noon. That's a pretty good time. Members that have done that in years past are probably doing it again this year. They're going to meet in the parking lot, and they're going to jump on a bus and go together. So that's happening. But on the same time, we're having a big 3-band bonanza gig. We're calling it a celebration of life without a death. So at least that was the concept. Why do we only make celebrations of life after somebody's gone? Why not do it when we don't have a reason to do it? Anyway, let's look at this triple concert. It's going to start with Summer Breeze, 11 to 2, followed by Mango Bay, 2:30 to 5:30, and we're going to close that thing out with Sears Brothers, 6 to 9. So that's going to be an all-dayer. There will be food. We're having the taco truck will be on the property from 2 to 7, I believe, is what Amy told me. Yes, food 2 to 7 is right there. So that's what I know. That's the lineup. We're going to keep working on finding ourselves a boat, and then when these briefings will start to include actual boating activities that depart from the dock of the boat club. So that's all I got. Enjoy your guys' week. Happy August. It's already August, believe it or not. You guys enjoy, and we'll see you down at the club.